Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again today. Tea bag folding. Used to do it years ago with our cards and then completely forgotten about it, as we do. All these things go round in cycles and all the rest. I had YouTube on the other day. It's always on while I'm sitting here playing and it's just going in the background. And I looked up and on the side of the feeds was somebody had done tea bag folding and I went, oh my Lord, I can't remember how long it's been since I've done tea bag folding. So I watched this girl's video to give me a refresher. Now, her name was Belinda Lewis and it was Paper Dreams Scrapbooking. She did tea bag folding on cards and I thought, oh, it's been so long. And I'd forgotten how much fun it was. But we can add it to our journals as well. So I'm going to do a couple of weeks where we'll do a couple of different tea bag foldings and add them to our tags. So for embellishments and ephemera and things. This is what I mean by tea bag folding. No, I'm not talking about our tea bags that we use to dye all our beautiful papers with. And I was going to look that up actually. I must do that before the next week. I was going to Google why it was called tea bag, exactly why it was called tea bag folding in the first place. There's so many different folds. It's like origami, but they are so easy to do. And for the most part, it's repetition. So you learn how to do your one fold for each piece, and it's that way each time. So the one we're doing today would be one of the easiest folds to do. Now, I've got a couple of scrap pieces of paper here to start with. I've brought you closer down today, so I'm hoping that I will remember that and always put you in screen. So for our first fold today, we're going to create this one, which is, I don't know, a star, I suppose. All you need to remember with this one is I've deliberately got some scrap paper that is printed on one side and completely plain on the other side so that you can, so this is our right side up. Okay, so you can see pattern on one side, nothing on the other side. So when I say right side up, I mean this way. So starting this fold, right side up, you'll go point to point for our first fold, bringing it up, making sure I'm in the center there, yep. Bringing it up, matching your point, giving it a little bit of a crease, and then using your bone folder or a scoring tool of some sort, give it a nice sharp crease. Open it back out, and then go point to point again, okay? I'm trying not to get my head in shot, which is the other reason why I've brought it down, because I tend to want to get close while I'm getting my points correctly. All right, so far, that's what you've got. Across here and across here, and we've started with right side up. Now turning it over so that the wrong side is up, and we're going to go edge to edge. So straight over. Where am I? Am I in shot? Yes. Straight over, edge to edge. This is probably a little bit thicker. It's just scrapbooking paper pad paper. So the thinner your paper, the easier, of course, it is to fold, and the flatter it'll be in your tags, etc. Think, Kylie. Right, so we've got that, we've now gone that way. We're going to turn it around again, but still so it's the wrong side up. And we're going to go the opposite way. So we've done 4 folds. That's it so far. It's straight down. If we turn it back over, you'll now see you've got this fold, this fold, this fold, and this fold. And what we're going to do is push this corner in, okay, and this corner in. So you can see it wants to sit like that anyway. if you grab those two bits, it'll all just fold in on itself. Okay, so this bit and this bit, where your folds join, if you push them, they will all just fold in on themselves. And so that what you end up with is a square. So give that another crease now that it's all in its square. And you'll see you've got this scored line down here. What we want to do is, now I'm a righty, lefty, depends on which way works for you. I tend to always go this way. You'll find after you've been doing them for a while, you'll have your own way. And what we want to do is make this folded edge. So this folded edge, we want to take it down to this crease line. So can you see this crease line? If you can't see it, hang on a moment. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it or not. How about I put a pencil line down for this one so that you can see the crease line that I'm talking about. If I just use my ruler, this is only a scrap one anyway, but you'll see what I mean. So there's your crease line, okay? What we want to do is take this so that it goes down to that crease line and all the way up to that top corner. I tend to use my finger and just push it back, and I use a little bit of my nail. If you haven't got nails, use your bone scorer and just crease it down there nicely. Give that one a crease going down, and then we want this one to go and meet up with this. So turn it whichever way you feel is more comfortable for you. And this time we're going to do the same. I just want to get that slightly going over and down so that we match up here. And then using your finger just to manipulate it into space. As I said, this is a bit thicker, this paper, so it takes a little bit more. Torn that one a little bit. I'll go back over. That is all the fold that we are doing. That will create that. So you can see that there is this here. Okay, so once again, now that was a 5-inch square. You always start with a square. Okay, so we'll work our way through different size squares to show you the different process. So this time I've got a 4-inch square from memory. Yep, this one's a 4-inch square. Remember, we start right side up, point to point, down, give him a crease, folding him out, right side up, point to point, your opposite points though this time. Now at any stage, if you're following along, just pause, catch up, and then off you go again, or rewind a little bit. Truly it doesn't take that long. Once you've got it and it'll click. It just takes a little while for it to click. So we're opening it back out again. Now we're going to turn it over so that we have the wrong side up, and we're going to take them edge to edge. Like so. Try to keep it nice and straight as you go. And down. Opening it back up. I've got that one. I want to go edge to edge this way. Okay. And over. Down, opening it up. You'll see it sits in that nice little teepee type thing up here. If you hang on to this bit and this bit, watch. Look at that. It just folds in on itself. So giving that a nice crease again. I'm going to take this one. There's my crease. Can you see the crease? I'll try and do it up here. Just got to get that bit started there. So we're going to that crease. Hold that out so you can see. Am I there? Yep, there it is. Okay. All right, so onto that crease. Just give him a good push, tuck him into space. And then we're going to crease the other end down. I'm just using my fingernail just to give it a little bit, matching those up down there. Making sure I'm running along the edge everywhere. And then giving it a crease again. And there it is again. So that was a 5-inch square. That was a 4-inch square. Okay, so you can see how much smaller they get as you go. The one we're going to do today for our tag is a 2-inch square. Now that'll bring you into a fairly large star again. The tag that I've got this on is about 3 inches, a bit over 3 inches by a bit over 6, and it's actually one of the Tim Holtz tag dies, which I think, yeah, it's that one, the framelets ones, 658784, which has all the different size tags, and it's this large tag that's in here that I usually have quite a few of them cut out from a manila folder, and I just have them sitting on my desk, so I've just used those. So this is the paper I'm going to be doing it in, and it's just a they're classed as a handmade paper. I don't know how much handmade they are, but they're just one of those little specialty papers, so it gives me a little bit of sheen and all the rest, but they're a softer, a little bit heavier than copy paper, so they've got a little bit more firmness to them, but they're nowhere near as heavy weight as your scrapbook paper. So once again, right side up, point to point first. So straight up, point to point, folding down. You can feel that these ones are easier on your fingers when you're doing them as well. So opening it back up, point to point, once again, down, opening it back up again, turning it over, and now we're going to go edge to edge. If I can get my fingers out of the way. All right, nice sharp crease, opening it back up, and we're going to go edge to edge on our other side, like so. I've got to keep remembering to move myself into shot. I need to be over here, don't I? Sorry. Right. There's our little teepee again, hanging on to that one, and they should just fold into place. Give that a nice crease. Oop. Slippery little suckers. And then down onto our crease. Again, I tend to use my fingernails just to crease it nicely and get that nice sharp point up into there. Sorry, I moved too quick for the camera. All right, down onto that one. And then the same with our other side. Over. Like so. And down, so that we've got a nice straight line down there into a nice sharp crease up the top. Okay, now with these ones, what you want to do that star is 8 of them. So I've been a little bit tricky, and I've done, here's some I achieved earlier on. So we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very quickly, we'll do another 2, right side up. See, I told you it's just repetitive, but by the time you've done a couple of them, it's just one of those things you can do almost in your sleep. Right side up, point to point again. Down, give it a little bit of a crease. Turning it over, edge to edge. down, edge to edge, and then taking them out, hanging on to this bit and this bit. Look at that. It's like magic. All right. And then once again, as I said, whichever way works for you, but all you're doing is putting that down onto that crease. And then the same with your other side. Making it is easier to do on a flat surface. Don't think you have to hold it in the air and wave it above your head. Flat surface will be fine. All right, so our last one, and then we can put it together. Right side up, point to point. So you'll be having nightmares about this. Your brain will be going over. Right side up, point to point. Right side up, point to point. That's all you need to remember. Down. Now, see this one I've folded just a little bit, well, not really, but let's say it's your cutting, your square is not quite a square. It's at this stage that you want to fix that little bit up. So if I bring that close, can you see that there's just a tiny little bit of an edge? Does that make sense? If you've got too much of an overhang, this is the time you want just to tidy it up a little bit, okay? Because then you won't see your white side once it's all done into your star. So now, wrong side up, edge to edge. Get rid of that, put that in the bin. Wrong side up, edge to edge. That is our last fold. Okay. No, it's not. Right. 2 folds left. 2 folds left. I lied. So we've got this one. And again, we're going to go to that crease. Which is quite difficult up in the air, but it's all right. See, if I can master up in the air for tea bag folding, I reckon you can master tea bag folding. Just push that little bit further over. I want him nice and straight. That one down. Right, now we've done our last fold. So now we want to put this little guy together. That's what we've got. We should have 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, move those out of the way. Just our normal white liquid glue. And what they're going to do is just slot in each other like so. Nice and easy, really. Really nice and easy. To do it, we want to put a little bit of glue in here. So, I tend to go from that corner in and then down. Fill that up as though it's a triangle. You don't want to take it, you glue too high up. Sit this one in and push him in. They will just literally work their way around. So, our next one, up, across, fill him up. And there are so many pretty specialty papers out there that you can just do so many different ones with. Even just normal, here you go. Now that's a 2-inch one. When I was playing the other day to work out a size for this big tag that you could actually see, that was the 2-inch one that I did up, and that was just normal paper pad paper. It had a slight green tinge to it. So you put a centre in that beautiful. So then I picked out some of my lovely gold A5 sheets that I just had sitting around for ages. And look at the difference. So this time I picked out one of my silver A5 sheets, and I got all this out of an A1 A5 size sheet. So, you know, it doesn't take, and that's doing a 2-inch square. The smaller the square, of course, the more you'll get out of it. So a little bit of glue in there. Set that one in there. And it just works its way around each time. Keep going. Doesn't take much to adhere itself to it. I suppose it'll also depend on the paper that you've got. So just watch as you're going. Now this guy, now we're almost at the end. So see how when I've got the 7th one in, I'm just left with this spot here. And this guy's just going to fit in there. But what we want to do for this one is do this edge. And we want to do this edge. Straight across and down. And then we're just going to pick this one up and slide him straight in. Give him a good push. Make sure you haven't got too much. And look at the back. Even the back is pretty. Now, if you don't like them sitting out, because let's face it, they are out quite a way, okay? You can always put a little bit of glue down here on that section. Let's try, because we've got that one open. So let's just do this for a second. What you can do, see how if you just put those ones down, you've just got this little bit up in the air. So a little bit of glue down on your edges. It's personal choice. You can stick down as much or as little as you like. Depends on the amount of texture and thickness that you want on your tags in your journal. They make lovely, lovely little bits, I suppose would be the best word. Lovely little sections on the fronts of your journals. You imagine some really large ones on the fronts of your journals, centres of belly bands, just all sorts of areas, let alone on the tags like we've done with this one. So it really is personal choice. Okay, so you can see how, because I'm sticking that down, it then takes away a little bit of the bulk. Yeah. Down there, one more to go, 2 more to go, can't count. Last one. Might need a little bit of paper towel for that. I've slipped and gone in there. The last thing I wanted to do for these ones was to go in there. Right, so see how I've now taken down some of the bulk? Does that show? So I haven't got all these extra ones out there. Another way to take out the bulk is when we put, and see, I put brads in the centre of mine, split pins. So let's have a look at a fancy one. Ooh. I quite like, you know, my sparkly ones. Let's have a look. Even if I just put with this lot, What colours do I plan to put on this? Reds and greens. I haven't got any large reds left. I do have a pale green that might work with that. So let's have a look at that. Look at that. And then once you open out your split pin, it covers that centre. Look, you could put a button on the front of it. You could put all sorts of different bits and pieces. I find the split pins, give it a good push down, will hold it further down in place as well. We'll very quickly now just make a tag to put this on. And I'll show you something. So, and I've got my tag fairly well pre-prepared this time to save us a little bit of time. So once again, manila tag that I've cut out of those Tim Holtz dies, and I've covered the front already with some Christmas serviettes. They were just a cheapy serviette. They were a 1-ply. After spending 10 minutes of trying to take the backing off them, I realised they didn't have backing. And I've just glued them straight on. I want to pop this up here, like so. Okay. I would like to put another little pocket down here, which is this one. I want to put a little bit of a round in it. But what I also want to do is put this to bring some colour up into it. But that still gives me my little bit of a section for a round. So we'll sit that on here. Very quick and easy little tag just to get my middle spot. And I like to use my oval for this one. So I'll grab my oval, setting that in there. All right. Quickly go around it, just round it. Oh, that's bad. Round it. Just to highlight where it is. And I can adhere that on to there like so. That's going to sit up there. That's going to sit down there. It still gives me room to get a little tag or something like that into that. Now, we'll just adhere this pocket on, so I'll just do it as a standard little pocket. Down. So just on the 3 sides. Down there. Give that a push. Squeeze any excess glue out of it. Right, look at that, I've got glue everywhere already. I found with this one, what I wanted was, I have my white glue, but I have, excuse me, my Helmar 450, which is my stronger glue, and it's also the glue that I use for when I'm doing fabric or lace, and I found that that held it on even stronger. So I tended to use this one for these. Word of warning, if you're using this, you don't need too much glue. When I put on my first one, and because I've got that on vellum, I've just covered my manila tag in paper, and then I've covered the whole thing in vellum, worked out my pocket, and then sewn all the way around it. When I went to stick this on, now whether it was the vellum or whether I just did too much glue, it went everywhere. So we're not going to use quite as much glue. So that's just a word of wisdom, I suppose. So yeah, not too much glue. Nice and stringy that it is. And I like mine to sit up a little bit like that. And that way, I've also then made that more or less the tag topper. Okay, so I don't have to worry too much about that hole. Look at that. So we'll do this one very quickly. Oh, and you can see that it was popped out of a paper pad. So I do want to get rid of those edges. You'd think I would have thought of that when I first picked it out. You know how I like my paper pads with all the little extra bits and pieces, because they're all sitting there and they're easy just to pull them out and use them. The ones that I don't like the designs to, I turn over and use for my base for my clusters. So that way I get so much use out of them. All right. Give him a little bit of oomph. And like so. I'm going to adhere him on there. Just with my standard glue again. Onto my tag. But I'm going to drop it a little bit so that I'm even between the bottom of my punched oval and the bottom of that. Give that a push. And I cut out some little presents that were, not straight, I didn't, that were in that paper pad as well. So once again, nice and quick, but I want to get, these ones were embossed, so they're shiny, but it means that they're a little bit thicker and they show the white rather well. And that bit I want to get rid of. So I've just cut out 2 to layer up on each other. One down here. So you could sit there and do, you know, pile of these, whether you're doing Christmas cards, tags for your journals, tags for presents, etc. You could do just a pile of them, and then once they're all made, start putting them on different bits and pieces. So on the little one as well, which if my bow is going correctly, and I want that to the side for my present stack, I want a little stamp there, and I pulled out some little joys, and I've got a little tiny joy there. I'm going to use a little joy, and I'm going to stamp it in black ink to match in with that. And I'm just going to go to the side there. So I want a little stamping mat. I want my black ink. So I'm just using my VersaFine Clear in, what do they call it? Nocturne. Black. All right. Because it's only a little stamp, I will take my stamp to my ink pad. Just gently blot up and down. You can see whether you've got all of it or not. Make sure there's nothing else on there, nothing on your fingers. And I want to go on an angle about there. Don't want to push too hard because it's a clear stamp and I don't know what brand it is, and I don't want it to squash. Right, that's that. Joy on there. The only thing this thing needs now is a little tag in here. So I pulled out some of that which was with the same paper pad, and it's got a bluey colour, but it's got these snowflakes which are more or less in here as well. So I want a tag that's about that. Now by all means I could die cut a tag as well, and I want it about that wide. Let's have a look. Yep, so I can still get my tag in even though this is wider. Chop that one. Match that up. That's because I can't bother reaching for my little template. And that one, I did. Now I could punch a hole in that one or just leave it as is. Let's just pop something else on it. So there's our other tag in that one. I actually want it a little bit shorter. I'm thinking I'm just going to chop it off there so that it's a little bit thicker across the top. Yeah, happier with that. That's a little bit better. So that really just needs something else on it. I could pop. I wonder if I've got red. Let's have a look at the rest of this. This was the paper pad. What have we got? Yes, we've got time, because I actually looked at the time this time. Right, so this was the paper pad I used. See, something like this and this, it all reminds me of this. So maybe I could just put a strip of that, which ties in all that red. Gives me this one as well, doesn't it? Let's do that. So it was just below that, what's he called? Reindeer. Just below the reindeer, I can work out my full sizing in a minute. And how wide do I want this? Let's have a look. If I go like this, I'm going to take him a little bit lower down. Put word, I'm thinking across there. I want it other side of his leg. About that. So if that sits there like so, trim that little bit up and start with the star, or trim that little bit off. I'm thinking I might go across there. I've got a line to follow. Makes it so much easier when you're dealing with scissors. A little bit further. Right. See, now I'm not straight. Let's go back to this and get us straight, will we? What's not straight? Yeah, look at that. It's nowhere near straight. How's that? So you should never use scissors, Kylie. Don't ever use scissors. Lovely. Popping that there, and then I can put a word on there. Right, I'm going to take a little bit more of that off, just so I can see a little bit more blue. Edge around that. And we need a word just to go across the top on that blue, so another small little word. Up along there. Down. Oh, I've got the shakes. Straight. Give him a push. Little word, using the black again. Need a word though, don't we? Joy, peace. I still have them down here. Oh, let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'll just get rid of my glue. Try not to hit the tripod. Try not to hit the tripod, Carly. And go small word. Merry Christmas. No, I've got little ones. Joy, Noel. It's too big a piece. Don't want the circle in it. So let's. There's got to be smaller ones. Don't want happy holidays. All right. Noel's too big. Joy we just used. Merry and bright. Will kind of fit there, but not really. There must be another piece here that I've got. Play jelly that I can just nick from one of these. Surely. That piece would work, wouldn't it? So we're going to nick the piece just off that one. And it's an easy fix. I'll peel that off. Put it on a block. Right. I want some scrap paper. Okay, so what I'm going to do, set some scrap paper there and some scrap paper there. If I bring that up, can you see what I'm doing? So all I'm doing is blocking out that word. So where does peace finish on that? Right there. So that when I ink it up, now you can tape it all on there if you like. It's up to you. But for me, I tend to just sit them on there. Grab this and just lightly go over it. Because what I want is just peace. Take that off and that off so you can see that they're on there like that. And I'll set piece in the centre of that. Let's have a look. Look at that. Okay, so I've just nicked it from another stamp, more or less. And that way it's an easy way to get, again, multiple uses from one stamp. So a piece goes in here. There we go. So they are 2-inch squares. 3-inch square, so you can see how much more huge it would be. 4-inch square. But what I've got down here, so 2-inch, 1.5 inches. Move those so that we can see what we're doing. And 1 inch. Yes, a 1 inch is very fiddly, but look at the size of it. It will go on, here we go, little tags. Look at that. Fits on little tags. So it's just a matter of working out the size of your square to start with. It always needs to be a square. Play with it. Play with a piece of scrap paper. That's a 1-inch square that's ended up being a 1 inch in here. Okay? 1.5. Now this is 1 inch ones. So your 1.5 ends up being, you know, round about 1.5. So work out what space you've got. This is your 2-inch. And if you measure from here to here, where your square would be, you're at 2 inches. So always remember that. Whatever size you really need your finished one to be, as in the square wise, not from here to here, but the inside square one, they're the size squares that you make. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does. They're really easy to do. Have a play with them. You'll find that you can apply them to so many different projects. They're just another fun thing to do to change things up a little bit. Next week we're going to do a different fold on a different journal thing. I haven't quite worked it out. I know the fold I'm doing. I know the shape I'm doing. We'll work something out for it. So until then, hope you enjoy these ones. Happy crafting. See you next time. Bye.